I'm saying no because more is caught than taught.
Correct.
So if you're living in a house where your parents are not getting along or like there's tension there, kids understand. Mm-hmm. Kids pick up on a vibe.
Yeah.
Especially if you have like empathetic kids.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
They will pick up on something that you don't even know you're actually demonstrating.
Yeah.
So we have my daughter, very empathetic. Mm-hmm. I can just simply say, ouch. I'd be like, oh. Actually, I'd be like, oh. And she's like, well, what's wrong, Mom? Or did you hurt yourself? Like, she's like trying to identify like what's wrong. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, oh, girl, I'm fine. Like, I just either stub my toe or something minor. Like, it's fine. Or I thought about something that I need to do. And I'm like, oh, I didn't put it on my to-do list. Yeah. It's whatever. But she's very much in touch. Mm. Even and they don't always get it right. We were having a conversation. And our oldest was like, well, why are y'all fighting? And we were like, what?
We was like, what are you talking about?
We had no idea what he was talking about.
Yeah, because we wasn't arguing.
Because we were not arguing. We were just talking and didn't understand. But I guess maybe, and to be fair, it could have been how we were talking. Mm-hmm. Because if we were talking, I can't remember exactly what we were talking about, but if we were talking about some of what went on in our day, mm-hmm. It could have come across as being because if we're frustrated as we're talking, he could have thought we were frustrated at each other.
He saw the frustration
instead of we're being frustrated about what happened, because that's easily can happen.
He didn't hear any context. He just saw our body language or something.
That could have been it.
Okay,
it was just like.
This is the B-side, B-side, B-side. The marriage. This is the B-side, B-side, B-side. The marriage.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Bside of Marriage podcast. I am your host, Rashonda, and this is my husband and co-host,
Jason.
And here at the B-Side, we talk about everything related to marriage. The good, the bad, the real, the A, and the B-Side. So if you're joining for the first time, welcome. And if you're returning, hey, glad to see you came back. If you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe, comment, all the things, ring the bell, all of that. And if you're listening on any of our audio platforms, please be sure to rate, review, and follow.
As well, follow us on Facebook at The Bside of Marriage and on Instagram at Bside of Marriage.
All right, so we like to start every episode where we share an A or B side moment from our week.
Okay. Whew. You looking at me?
Yes.
It's always the same. I don't know why I was doing
this. Yes, that's what it's like. And go.
Man, I don't like. I guess I would say this. Over the past week or so, the kids really have been okay at home during the day.
Okay.
No, it's like it. You know, there have been certain times where they get loud. Mm-hmm. And I'm in a meeting or something, but overall, like I said, it's getting towards the end of the summer.
It is.
And school's about to start, but still, it's like they're like I said, they've been pretty good. So. Okay. That helps me out. I'll say it like that. It helps me out. So.
Mm-hmm. Mine is also too about the kids.
Oh, okay.
Well, a kid. I have an A side moment. It was our oldest birthday a week or two ago, and he doesn't normally do well with surprises or his birthday. It's just because he's a planner like me, and
he needs to know details.
He wants to know, and he feels like he wants to make those kind of decisions, but he really doesn't. He gets overwhelmed easily by having to make too many decisions and have too many choices. Mm-hmm. So, to be honest, we didn't do what we usually do. Although he wasn't the one to have the big birthday party, it was just like it was a lot of last minute things because we had some unexpected, visitors and with school and with all the other things, work and stuff, it's just like, anyways, long story short, we didn't do what we would typically do. But he really ran with the punches, and the things that he even selected, it was things that I wasn't expecting him to.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And we pranked him on his gift, and I was like, this can go one or two ways.
Yeah.
Because if he responds badly, he's not getting his actual gift.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, that's
But it went well, and like the day overall went really well. So that was my A. It ties into how, the kids have been. I mean, they've had their moments.
They have.
But in general, they have been pretty good kids.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then we have P2P Share, where we're sharing something we are reading, watching, or listening to. What you got?
If y'all are not watching Righteous Gemstones, y'all are missing out. It is quite hilarious. It is crazy, and it's funny and insane. So check it out.
So I'm talking about something I'm watching too. And I think it kind of goes to like what we always talk about, communication. Mm-hmm. It's on Apple TV. It's called Hijack. It's awesome. Like I said, when I talk about communicator, he is a paid negotiator. You know, like he goes into companies and negotiates things. So it's all about how you communicate. And if you just like watching the episode from the first to the last, just like it's amazing how you can communicate with people could turn them away from doing something, negative. So that's I'll say that I'll say that because it
was a good show.
Yeah. So what we talking about, man?
So today we're gonna talk about kids. We're going to talk about, so the premise of it is basically staying in a relationship for kids. Like staying in a relationship for just the kids is just not enough.
Okay. Go ahead and start.
I guess, what do you think when I say that? Do you agree? Do you disagree? And why?
To stay in just for the kids?
Yes. Staying in a marriage just for the kids.
I guess like I always say, forget them kids. So I don't know. I guess I don't know. I disagree behind it because I guess, like I said, I always use the phrase forget them kids. It's about us. If we're not working on us, I don't know. It's like if we're not working on us, and I'm just worried about the kids, it's like how are we gonna ever grow? How are we ever going to, continue to develop a relationship if we're only just focusing on the kids? Because, God created marriage for us to fulfill things that He wants. It was never saying for us to just focus on kids.
Well, it says, be fruitful and multiply.
But that wasn't the first thing He told them. So.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying.
That's fair.
It was more about oneness. Oneness does not have nothing to do with them kids. Oneness is about, your spouse that God gave you.
Well, we can get there.
Okay,
but yes.
so sorry.
So no, that's all good. So, because the real reason, not the real reason, but the reason, I guess, additional context behind what I want to talk about is that people often stay in a marriage, stay in loveless marriage or on some abusive marriages just because they have kids. And so they were like, oh, we don't want to end this marriage because we want, we might not want they might not be able to handle the financial responsibility of the kids.
Yeah.
Or two, it's just like they never, it destroys a dream that they had, a vision that they had about their marriage. Like, I'm going to be married, we're going to have these 2.5 kids, and we're going to live live life and, grow old together.
White picket fence, all stuff,
And then when that dream gets diminished, then they're like, well, I'm just going to sacrifice this relationship for this and my happiness in order for the kids to raise well-rounded kids. Now, so do you think if you have an unhealthy relationship that you can raise healthy, well-rounded kids?
Yeah, unhealthy. See, I guess unhealthy. I would say unhealthy. That's, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of on the fence on it.
Okay.
I'll say like that, just because, I was raised. My mom. I live with my mom most of the time, but my dad was always there. He was. When I say he's always there, he was close, and I was always in communication. My mom and dad was always communicating, but they just didn't live together anymore. So I turned out fine. But but on the other hand, that's what I'm saying. I'm on the fence because on the other hand, I would say it's tough because kids see these things. Kids see, they see it and internalize it.
Yes.
And then when they internalize it as they get older, they think that that's how it's okay because that's how I saw my mom. That's how I saw my dad. So they internalize those things as being okay when, and there's a lot of different things. What I mean when I say with that is like, I'll just give an example. They can see that, that parent didn't speak up enough, didn't talk enough. So they internalizing, okay, if I come into any type of conflict, I'm gonna suppress it, not say anything. So that's why I kind of say I'm on the fence because I feel that I turned out okay, but that's why I say unhealthy. That's why I was like the term unhealthy. I'm kind of like
Or dysfunctional.
Any better? Yeah, dysfunctional. Yeah, because. What about you? I guess.
I would say. I'm saying no. Okay. I'm saying no because more is caught than taught.
Correct.
So if you're living in a house where your parents are not getting along or like there's tension there, kids understand. Kids pick up on a vibe. Yeah. Especially if you have like empathetic kids. They will pick up on something that you don't even know you're actually demonstrating. Yeah. So we have my daughter, very empathetic. I can just simply say, ouch. I'd be like, oh. Actually, I'd be like, oh. And she's like, well, what's wrong, Mom? Did you hurt yourself? Like, she's like trying to identify like what's wrong. And I'm just like, oh, girl, I'm fine. Like, I just either stubbed my toe or some minor, like, it's fine. Or I thought about something that I need to do. And I'm like, oh, I didn't put it on my to-do list. Yeah. It's whatever. But she's very much in touch. Even an example, like, and they don't always get it right. We were having a conversation. And our oldest was like, well, why are y'all fighting? And we were like, what?
We was like, what are you talking about?
We had no idea what he was talking about.
Yeah, because we wasn't arguing.
Because we were not arguing. We were just talking and didn't understand. But I guess maybe, and to be fair, it could have been how we were talking. Because if we were talking, I can't remember exactly what we were talking about, but if we were talking about some of what went on in our day, it could have come across as being because if we're frustrated as we're talking, he could have thought we were frustrated at each other.
He saw the frustration
instead of we're being frustrated about what happened. Because that's easily can happen.
He didn't hear any context. He just saw our body language or something.
That could have been it. Okay, it was just because we both just stopped and we were like, ooh, what? You're talking about? But they're always watching, even when...
And ear hustling all the time.
Even when you know or you don't know.
Yeah.
So it's all to say that they could be, and then they could internalize, like you said, they could be internalizing things that can have a negative impact on them. I'm not saying it's guaranteed that if the relationship is dysfunctional, they'll be dysfunctional. I'm just saying, honestly, I'm saying it's not enough.
Yeah.
it's not enough to want to raise kids just to be in a 2-parent household if it's not a loving and caring environment.
Correct.
And also, too, I'm a firm believer in put your mask on. Well, I've gotten here. Put your mask on before you help the little people you got with you. Okay.
On the airplane.
I cannot demonstrate healthy conflict resolution if I'm not taking care of myself, if I'm not voicing up for myself, if I'm not speaking up for myself, if I'm not making sure that my needs are being met. How can I help them navigate issues that come up? Because they're going to have issues. Like, we can't keep them protected in a bubble, although sometimes I wish. And then other times I'm like, no, you need to go experience life. Go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if I'm not making sure that I am good, they're going to create they're going to create dysfunctional relationships. And they're going to imitate that, behavior.
Yeah. No, you're right about that, because I'm sorry, my eyes, I don't know. Like you said, the kid, they pick up on a lot of different things. They definitely do. And like I said, and it didn't even have to be our kids. We have family, we have friends who kids come over and they pick up on things. And like I said, they don't even live in the household, but they can pick up on those things. So, but yeah, like I said, and that's what's like for you. Yeah, it's for me. The way you worded it the second time, I would say no, because you said in a healthy. I'm not trying
to convince you.
No, because I'm just like, because you said in a healthy, loving. That's why I was like, it's tough, because I felt that, it was my mom and dad relationship was different,
unique.
Yeah, it's different, and unique. But at the same time, I felt it was healthy. I felt I was loved, and there was love between them, but they just couldn't live together anymore. And that's why, like I said, I lived with my mom, I lived with my dad, and that's what I was like, I can't recall them. Yeah, no, maybe one or two times that I actually saw them, have a heated discussion, but like, I think I always thought it was healthy. That's why when you asked the question, I was like, I was on the fence just because of that.
Oh, that's a great question, though.
Wow.
Do you think that you should fight in front of your kids?
I believe you should. See, I don't say you should. I think your kids need to see I said they see you have intense time of fellowship and how to resolve it, so they can actually understand that, if you get angry, you don't walk away or you don't lash out. I think that's good. That's good for them to see, and that's why it's like you have to be in a relationship, or be in a relationship where you guys have that communication, where even if if the kids are around, you can still have a conversation. They can see, if there's frustration, or not anger, but just frustration, and how you guys resolved it. Because for them, that, again, they're always watching. So I think for them to be able to see that and be able to, not say internalize, but like, okay, that's a light bulb for them when they get in the positions.
Right.
Like, I remember my dad and my mom had a conversation. So if they're ever in something similar, they know how to react to it.
No, that's good. And I definitely agree. Growing up, there were times that my dad would raise his voice at my mom. I don't ever remember a time that my mom raised her voice, unless she was raising it at us, as kids. But I think they resolved a lot of their disagreements behind closed doors.
Okay.
And I think that that can create a mentality that I have to sit on
Your feelings.
my feelings for the sake of appearing as a unit to the kids by us not addressing, this issue. I think I might have been, I probably had that same school of thought initially when we got married. I was like, I want them to understand that, we're unified. But I think in that it comes across as conflict can be negative. Like all conflict is bad. All hard conversations all conversations are hard.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the case.
No.
Just because something is a hard subject to address doesn't mean that it's a confrontation.
Correct. And
you have to model that for them. And so I'm now to the point where I'm at the stage where as appropriate, like we ain't airing all the business in front of them because they don't, some of the conversations are not age appropriate for them to be a part of.
Yeah.
But for lack of a better word, simple conflicts, it's good for us to demonstrate how to have it. It's good for us to demonstrate how to deal with frustration. Because we can be frustrated doesn't mean that we're getting a divorce.
Correct.
Because I know there are some people who, there are some kids that definitely jump to that conclusion because of what they see on TV or what they've seen in other people's relationships. That they are having a fight. Our parents are breaking up.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we can have a healthy discussion about something that is difficult, and we still love each other. Like,
yeah.
And so modeling that allows them to see that and be able to address it as they grow older.
So, like, there was something that you said a few weeks ago, about understanding doesn't equal agreement.
Yes.
So, being able to have a conversation where you're trying to get your, like, for instance, having a conversation with you, trying to get you to understand, like, get understanding of what I'm feeling, and it can be, like I said, I'm trying to think of an example that we may have done before. And honestly, I think what you just brought up regarding, it was probably something at work I was frustrated about, and I was explaining it to you. And I was giving you information so you can understand my feeling for the day or something like that. But then our oldest saw it as us arguing, but that was something for him to see and get an understanding, so he can be like, wait a second. Just because he was, venting to mommy doesn't mean that they're arguing. Yeah. He's just trying to convey what his feelings were throughout the day. So again, it helps, even our children to be able to speak their feelings. Yeah, they can be frustrated, angry about something and still be able to articulate what they're saying. Even just to us, not, to us as parents, and allow our kids to be able to get what they're feeling out, but at the same time understand it's not just how you say it. It's your everything else, your body language, your tone, and all stuff.
Well, I got an example.
Okay.
Like, well, I don't have a specific example because there's a lot.
I was a little scared. I was like,
No, there's a lot. Well, when it comes to us parenting our kids,
okay.
There are, you have a certain style.
Yes.
That there are times where I don't agree with.
Gotcha.
Your approach sometimes I feel like can be either a little harsh or a little double standard.
Okay.
If we're talking about our sons versus our daughter. Okay. So in those times, I'm trying to get an understanding of what you're really trying to, like, especially like if it's a consequence associated with it, like what are you trying to get at? What behavior are we trying to correct? But I'm, like I said, I'm listening to understand your perspective, even though I might not necessarily agree with your approach.
Gotcha. Okay. No, that's good. That's good.
And so that's why we don't correct each other in front of the kids because we don't want them to try to use that against us.
Mama said,
because hey, listen, they smart.
Yeah.
They don't take one time, they're gonna run with it. But in those times we're having the conversation afterwards. I will even say it's like I didn't agree with it.
Yeah.
But after we talked about it, I understand what you were your intent behind it.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
No, that's good.
but yeah, so I had another point about not staying for the kids. Oh, yes. This is a major one for us. We are building a legacy to leave behind for our kids.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to raise and we want to raise well-rounded kids. Mm-hmm. Well-rounded, actually not even kids, well-rounded citizens so that they're able to go into the world and make it better and bring their creativity to it. Mm-hmm. Okay? But in order for that to happen, we have to build them up, support them, guide them as much as we can, and just be a shoulder for them to cry on. Mm-hmm. But they must leave.
Facts.
They are to leave. You're to raise up a child and they are to go. Now, we're going to be their support, and we're not saying the door is closed. Okay, so the door might be closed. It won't be locked.
I'm about to say, hold on.
It won't be locked.
I'm like, we're not leaving. I don't do that. Leave door open.
It won't be locked.
And I lock doors too.
Meaning that if they go and we want them to have the freedom to explore their passions. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes those passions may not pay what they thought they were going to pay. Mm-hmm. Or they might try something, take a risk, and it might not work for them. Mm-hmm. So yes, we want to be a place where they can come back to recover. But then once again,
they got to go.
They must go.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's temporary.
Exactly. And if you're only standing in a marriage and a relationship because you have kids, that means you're pouring all your effort and all your energy. You're spending all your quality time with people who are going to leave you. And I think that's why people get divorced that have been together forever, because they're growing, because we're always growing as as people. But if you're not growing together in your marriage, when the kids leave, you looking at the person like, who are you?
Because they done changed so much.
So much.
And then you're not used to it because you've been focusing on them kids.
Yes, either the kids or yourself. And that's why when you look at each other, y'all don't have a unified purpose. Mm-hmm. And it's just, literally, that's why I feel like people are, we grew apart. Yes, because y'all didn't put the time. You're investing your time into the wrong thing.
I would say, in the wrong thing, yeah.
And kids are meant to grow up and go. They need to have their own experiences. Mm-hmm. Also, too, you don't want to be that parent that's in college every weekend visiting them because you don't have a life. Because your life is your kids. You don't have no hobbies, you don't have no friends, you don't have anything but your kids. So you're like, hey, Mom, it's not Parents' Weekend. Why are you here? Oh, I want to protect you. You have to, I know we don't want to hear it, but our kids do need to feel some level of failure so they can grow resistance. If you're constantly doing everything for them, that's how they're going to be as adults.
How are they going to build adversity if they never experience anything?
Right. Now, I'm not saying, kick them out with no money, no nothing.
No clothes, no drawers.
Yes. But I'm just saying, be understanding to know that they need to experience a certain level of failure. Yeah, so because in the mistakes, in the failures, they learn, they grow, they mature. And like I said, they create a certain level of resistance. And that's what they're going to need, because you want them to create their own family. If this is what they want to do, if they want to have a family of their own, you want them to be able to be valuable participants in that family, instead of, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, so every little thing, we got to come to you because we don't know how to do nothing. Or can you come over and help me do this? You got to cut the cord at some point.
The cord has been cut when the baby comes out, so. Am I wrong now?
No, and I know it's hard. You're so You're so rude.
I'm sorry.
And I know it's hard, especially when kids are younger, and they're less independent. Oh man, they can be leeches.
Boogers.
Because they only know one thing is they know their needs, and they're all about taking care of their needs.
Forget about yours.
They don't, exactly. And that's why we as parents have to be able to show them or, guide them and be like, hey, yes, you can take care of your needs, but mommy and daddy got to take care of their needs too. Yes, we have to show them how to manage and regulate our emotions when they make us upset. Yes, we have to do these things. But it's not at the sacrifice of our marriage, of our relationship.
And yes, they need to take time for themselves. We need to have date night. We need to go on vacation, just us together. Like these are the things that they need to see, so
they will be okay.
So so that when they're in healthy relationships, they can, and they have a family, they can do the same thing. So they can see that maybe my mom and dad was gone for 2 weeks out of the year because they went to spend time with each other. But hey, I understand because it helped me see that we need our R&R as a couple. So yes, I agree with all of that. Like, literally, I agree with all of that because at the end of the day, like I said, they're going to go. It's just gonna be us by ourselves.
And it's gonna be us. And I just want us to still be able to have fun. Like, I want to do, like, there are things I am looking forward to when the kids move out of the house to go to college or whatever they're gonna do after they graduate from high school. Like, and you should have those kind of dreams. You should not just have visions for the right now. You need to, like at work, or when you think about your career, what is your 1, 5, 10, 15, 20-year plans? Like, what are they?
Yeah. Same thing for your marriage.
Same thing for your marriage.
I don't know. I ain't got nothing else. I'm just.
That's it.
I'm co-signing what you said. That's all.
Yeah, because So.
And like I said, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's all about putting these goals in place, and we've said this in multiple episodes before. Is we make time for things that we want. So if you make the time for the goals that you guys want to achieve, set a time every year. Just put it on the calendar. This is a time we're gonna meet. We're gonna talk about our goals for this year and plan it out. If it's short-term goals for the next 6 months, if it's for the year, if it's 5, 10, whatever's down the way, set those goals. Set the goals and put it somewhere that you guys are always going back to, and when you complete that goal, check it off. So you can see, how you do it. Like I would say, check it off and put a date on it. So when you open it back up, you will see, okay, we accomplished this year, then 2 years later we accomplished it. And you can see, the things that you guys accomplished in your marriage over time.
Yep.
A lot of times we complete something and then we don't have anything to kind of show, or we don't celebrate it.
We don't celebrate it.
And like you don't celebrate it. So it's like to be able to see those things, it's a reminder. And if you look at it, you'd be like, you know what? It took us a while to do it, but we finally did this. And it helps you. It helps as you planning goals. So,
I had something and it went out of my head when you were talking about it.
It was good. See
Yes, no, it was good. But no, I'm saying as far as timing.
Oh, okay.
It's real easy to do that around anniversary. Because that's the focus. The focus of your anniversary is your relationship, your marriage. So just do the planning then around there. Go somewhere fun and do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Be like, hey, I know for us, we try to do our... do some kind of like solo trip, whether it's staycation or whatever. We try to have some alone time for our anniversary because.
And we talk like we always have. We have our
right,
it's kind of like a retreat.
Yes,
us,
right. And so we talk about those things. We plan. We reflect, and so that's the easiest way to remember. Make sure you get it done. But I definitely do agree with that.
Okay. Well.
All right. Anything else?
I don't got anything else. You got a marriage advance tip? Sorry.
No, I'll let you. I'll just borrow your words.
Oh.
Marriage advance tip is to forget those kids.
I didn't think that's where he was going. I think he was going to use my last, what I just said before. I didn't think he was going to forget the kids, so, okay.
Forget the kids. Because they will forget you when they're having all the fun. Like, they're just, honestly, it's just not enough to stay in a marriage for them. Value yourself more. Value yourself more, enough to prioritize yourself. Prioritize your needs within the marriage. Let your partner know, let your spouse know that your needs are not being met. And then come up with a plan for y'all to address each other's needs so that you can have a loving marriage. I refuse to believe that my God created marriage for me to be in a loveless, thankless, bland marriage, where my only job is to raise children.
That's not what he designed.
And so what are you saying if you struggle with having kids? That God thinks less of you? Nope. I don't come in agreement with that line of thinking at all. So that's what I'm saying. Prioritize your needs. Not saying don't take care of your kids. Take care of them kids. But don't make them the priority over your marriage.
Correct.
It's not worth it.
Don't prioritize your kids over your spouse.
Yep.
So.
All right. That's all I got.
All right. Well, as always, like, follow, share,
Yes.
subscribe. I would say tag somebody on this. Because, again, like I said, there's couples out there, there's people out there that may need to hear these things. You know, and, you know, as a couple, we always want to push, you know, our couple friends, push them back to one another. Not away, but push them towards each other. So I know this episode will help push couples back towards one another, back towards God. But yeah, so well, until next week.
Because remember, the real work begins at I do. Peace.